Raul and Sofia, I'm very glad to be sitting with you right now and being able to talk to you a little bit about the story that you've journeyed through over this last year.
Yes.
I know it's been a heavy one. Raul, you were just telling me it has been a year. Tomorrow will be a year to the day that you first started experiencing COVID symptoms.
Yes.
And this has been a year of emails and Zoom calls. And
Yeah.
Sofia, you and I and your kids actually met in this park to pray for Raul while he was walking through a very difficult bout of COVID and all the things that entailed. So can you tell us a little bit about what it was like that first day?
Well, it's going to be a year tomorrow that I started with the symptoms. 9 days after that, I was checking into the hospital because my oxygen was getting lower and lower. I don't remember much. I remember getting into the hospital, waiting in the waiting area to speak to the nurse, and that's it. At 4 in the morning, I got intubated. And they said it was going to be for about 7 to 10 days. It ended up being 7 weeks. Don't remember much during that time because I was heavily sedated. I remember just very quick flashes of things that the nurses doing things to me, moving me. The emotional weight was on my family and everybody at church. All in all, almost 4 months.
Well, it was very hard. We were hopeful that at the 7 or 10 or 2 weeks he will be better. They were trying to get him off the ventilator, but it seems like every time they try, he entered in distress, respiratory distress, and they had to sedate him again. So it was like a roller coaster of emotion for us. I remember that we felt very supported by the church, by our friends, by our family members.
Yes.
We saw the love of God from cookies, flowers, texts, phone calls. So it was beautiful. In the middle of this, of course, we were praying for healing, but at the same time, there is this thought at the back that he may not get better, no? I remember one night I was praying for healing, and then all of these doubts came to my mind, and I remember that verse that he put in my mind, like, if you are being bad parents, good gifts to your kids, how much your Father that is in heaven is not going to give you good gifts to you, right? Whatever He brings us is going to be good.
There was a story that I was hearing about your son Daniel, who had a bit of a vision. Can you share that with us?
The doctor has just told us that Raul is not improving. Like there were extensive damage on his lungs and scar tissue. It's going to take a long time for him to recover. He talked about therapies, mental health issues, PTSD, and all sorts of scary things that we tried not to think about. We were devastated that day, and we came home in tears. Yeah, Daniel went to his room, and he was trying to worship, play some songs in the guitar, and then he just closed his eyes for a second. And then when he did, he saw his dad and 4 angels, 2 by his head and 2 by his feet. And he told me, Mom, I don't know if this is a vision and I think that God is trying to tell me that my dad is not alone and He's taking care of him. The next Friday, like 3 days apart from that, then they told me, oh, Raul is off of the ventilator. And that was huge.
Well, I think something I learned was that you have to put yourself in God's hands in any situation. Getting into the ICU, getting ready to be intubated, I texted her, giving her the news, and she replied back, do you trust in God? And I said, yes, I do. And so I didn't have time to think or to complain or to do anything. It was just, okay, do with me whatever you want to do.
One of my brothers told me that verse in the Bible that it says that through His wound we were healed. And then that was one of the part of our prayers, because at the beginning I was thinking, we want him to be healed, but in which authority I'm gonna ask? This is why we have to pray for healing for Raul, because he already paid